if I say a few words? Thank you.
A rich, married politician has had sex with his maid, who then threatened to make the affair public. So far, so normal. He had his wicked way, and when she didn't get what she wanted out of the relationship, she threatened him with the only weapon at her disposal, publicity. She had no reputation to lose, but she lost more than that. Precisely put, she lost her head. Not in the frothing at the mouth, hanging outside his bedroom window and boiling the family bunny sense, but in the removing of the head from the shoulders by slicing through the neck sense. The politician organised it by denouncing her as a witch, and the local church went along with it. Strung her up by her thumbs till she confessed and dispatched her with great vengeance. The powerful colluding with the authorities to rid themselves of an embarrassment. How very British, how very modern. Except that this happened in Switzerland in 1782. And after a rather lengthy investigation, the Swiss government has decided that it was all a big mistake, and they've forgiven her. Completely cleared her of any wrongdoing. Sorry about that, they said. So that's all right then. The non-witch was reported to be still dead. Still with God. Which intelligent people don't believe in. According to a new study, those with a high IQ are less likely to believe in God, and a decline in observance over the last century is simply a function of an increase in overall intelligence. Academics, the intellectual elite, are less likely to believe in God than anyone else. The findings state that while children, for instance, tend to believe in God, many start to have doubts as they get older and smarter. The less infantile we become, the more we question. Religious belief has declined not just here, but across 137 developed nations, as their population's IQ has increased. It's the same result that affects all entrenched institutions. The smarter we are, the more we challenge. The more we challenge the orthodoxy and question received wisdom and superstition. The church can't do much about that now, other than just preach louder. But in the good old days, they knew how to take care of the doubters, and they wouldn't have to apologise for another 200 years. I bet they missed the good old days. There was something that seemed like a uniquely bad idea, which gives me an idea for a topic, if you like. Great bad ideas of our times. 0845 6060 973. If you want to talk about, if you've come up with that, well, I'll tell you what I mean in a moment. You can text at any time on 84850. Stiletto shoes, designed for babies, were condemned last night as a cheap way of sexualising children. Said by their makers to be inspired by television shows like Sex and the City, the fashion footwear for babies is the latest craze from America. A director of the children's charity Kidscape said, the mothers who set up this Heel Arius website... Now, that's in inverted commas. I don't know whether they've said that it's Heel Arius or whether the website... Maybe it's called Heel Arius. Oh, it is. HeelArius.com. I bet that's what it is. They offer high heels and stilettos in hot pink, black, leopard and zebra print for babies. And they say that they're robbing toddlers of their childhood. This idea has come from two parents with no sense at all, said this Kidscape charity director. People who set up things like this, like wigs for babies. Wigs for babies? I hadn't heard about that. I bet that would be quite funny. Wigs for babies are treating their babies terribly, she says. They think it's cute, but I think it's pathetic. Would any sane parent buy this for their baby? High heels are meant to be sexy, and women wear them to feel sexy. Why would you put them on a child? I'd always wondered about that. High heels. Which part of it feels sexy? Is it the part that you can't walk very well? That your feet hurt all the time? That you totter around unsteady on your pins? Which part of that makes you feel sexy? I mean, would you feel sexy, for instance, Raj, if you couldn't walk very well and your shoes hurt so much you had to take them off? Would that make you feel sexy?
No, but red makes me look really good.
I'll remember that when your birthday comes around. The NSPCC's Head of Child Protection Awareness said, I think it's great. No, he didn't. He said this is part of a worrying trend of inappropriate clothing being marketed at young children. But company founder, Ms. Bacon, said, the shoes are completely soft and can't harm a baby in any way. But this product is obviously not for anyone. Well, everyone, rather. Not for anyone. It's not for everyone. Some heels are even available for babies up to 6 months old who are still too young to walk. High-heeled shoes for babies who can't walk yet. Costing £18 a pair, they're for sale over the internet in more than 50 shops across America. What a brilliant idea. These people are off their minds. So I thought maybe that's the impetus that we need to start a list of the great bad ideas of all time. Perhaps you think stilettos for babies should be on the list of great bad ideas of all time. Another might be... I've got a lot of them here, but they're all sort of mixed up together. Another might be something that I've talked about but not actually described over the last couple of days. An invention. And still, only one paper had this, and I think it's The Guardian. This must be the most useless invention of all time. How could you possibly be lazy enough to need an automatic ice cream cone? Here's the story. It's the perfect invention for the ice cream lover who, on an energy-sapping hot summer's day, really can't find the strength to lick their 99 flake into shape. Instead of using wrist power to turn the cone and keep the ice cream in place, a new, motorised, rotating cone can do the work for you. Filling the removable cup with ice cream is as difficult as it gets. Otherwise, the instructions are clear. Position the tongue adjacent to the ice cream, press a button, and the cone spins round in an anti-clockwise direction. The need to twist, turn, and manoeuvre is gone. The battery-operated gadget was invented by a US firm, but is going on sale in the UK. A spokesman for the British distributor said, "We've all had the experience of quickly licking an ice cream into shape before it starts to melt under the sun. It can give the tongue quite a workout. All you have to do is put your tongue onto the ice cream rather than lick. It really is a lazy person's ice cream cone. It does everything for you. In case, your tongue's tired." They said that the cup could be easily removed so it could be washed, presumably, says The Guardian, in a dishwasher. For surely nobody who buys a powered ice cream cone would wash anything up by hand. £5.75 for your automatic ice cream cone. All you need to do is stick your tongue out. You can stick your tongue out, can't you? And lick it. So I think we've got the kernel of a list here. Great bad ideas of all time. Stilettos for babies and a motorised ice cream cone. How could we possibly go wrong? 0845 6060 973 on that, or anything else that you like. I filled up my car last night. I panicked. Just in case, Well, it's like Nick Ferrari was saying. When the government says don't panic, that's a cue to panic. There must be something really bad about to happen if they say don't panic. And they're, this catastrophe that is about to befall us isn't actually about the price of fuel at all. I suppose indirectly it might be, but it's about pay. Now, I guess this is the Daily Mail. They have this. Striking tanker drivers plan to cut off supplies from major oil refineries in an attempt to escalate a dispute that has already led to queues on the nation's forecourts. I haven't actually seen any queues yet. You seen any queues? The drivers for Shell will urge unionised tanker drivers for rival oil companies not to cross their picket lines during the 4-day action starting tomorrow. This threatens to multiply dramatically the effect of the disruption caused by only 650 Shell workers. It's at 650 people that's going to cause all this. Airports are also going to be hit. Luton, which is understood to be supplied by Shell, is among those targeted. Members of the Unite union, employed by two firms working on Shell contracts, are due to walk out over pay from 6 a.m. tomorrow until 6 a.m. the following Tuesday. It's nice that they took the weekend in. I mean, they can't do much work over the weekend, surely, because they'll be on time and a half on Saturday, presumably, and double time on Sunday. You get double time on Sunday here, right? By law, only 6 pickets can protest at their place of work. I think that's all down to Maggie, isn't it? Which for many drivers includes refineries and oil terminals. This is what they want. This is what they're after. The Shell drivers deliver fuel to up to 1,000 filling stations, about 1 in 10 of the total. The unions say they earn just under £32,000 before overtime. Employers insist that their improved 6.8% offer would take the average to around £39,000. Now, just move your eyes across the page on the Daily Mail, and there's this story. Keep in mind, £39,000 is what they've been offered. British workers may want to win the lottery and live like millionaires, says the Mail, but in their more realistic moments they say that they would be happy on an annual salary £13,000 a year above what they earn at the moment. UK average is 25,000. 13,000 more than that is 38,000. Shell drivers are being offered 39,000. Britons say that the peak of happiness would be reached at 38 grand. Shell drivers have been offered 39,000. I thought it was interesting that the Daily Mail put those both stories side by side. What are they trying to say? 7:45. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. On the trains now.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. 0845 6060 973. Perhaps you think that Coldplay is one of the most uniquely bad ideas of all time. They just have a new album out. Oh, I bet it's fantastic.
Boring!
Oh, blimey, will the excitement never start? Hands up anybody through there who likes Coldplay? Glad to hear it. One of the things that has always endeared Gwyneth Paltrow to Chris Martin, the lead singer of Coldplay, says this article in, I think it looks like The Telegraph, was that, unlike other pop stars, he has always been a clean-living fella. Now he has just owned up to a drug habit of sorts. Quote, "My problem is that I often take a sleeping pill in order to go to sleep. But then I get excited about a song, so I go and play music. And then it kind of kicks in halfway through," he says. "I have a little corner where no one can hear me in the middle of the night, and that's where I spend most of the night times. I wake up the next morning and find these strange notes to myself. I'm a little bit ashamed about it. Honestly, mate, it's not the pills, it's the songs that are sending you to sleep. I've heard your music." So I'm going to put Coldplay on the list, whether you like it or not. Stilettos for babies, motorised ice cream cone, and Coldplay. First of all, it's a call in. I wonder if people would be willing to tell us what they do for a living. Because somebody called us yesterday, and they were quite right when they said that it's actually more interesting to know what people do for a living rather than where they are. Because when you're only hearing people for a couple of minutes, you want to put them into a pigeonhole. You want to figure out where this person is coming from. And the easiest and quickest way of doing it is to find out what they do. Well, we'll start with Forest Hill. Hello, Jill. Are you prepared to tell us what you do for a living?
Yeah, a bit of this, bit of that.
Oh, right.
And too much of it as well.
Import, export, ducking and diving, that sort of thing. So that's a no, then?
Yeah.
All right. None of my business.
Mind your NOB.
Okay.
But apart from that, well, I'd tell you in secret, but I wouldn't tell the rest of the...
Are you a nurse?
No.
Are you a policeman?
Do I sound like the caring type? Definitely not.
I didn't ask that. I asked you whether you were a nurse.
Oh, don't you have to be the caring type to do that?
I don't think so. Anyway,
all right, let's not go there.
Yeah.
That mad invention, the ice cream cone. It's outdated. It's old hat. The kids have been using buying these lollipops that are on motorised sticks for years. I've been at least 5 years, and I used to see them all getting on the bus, and I'd hear this whirring, and I'd look, and these kids the lollipop would be whirling around in their mouths, and they'd stick their tongues out, and then, just let it roll on their tongues.
Really? I've never heard of such a thing.
Oh, God. I think they're about £1 something, anyway, they're quite expensive, obviously, for just a flipping lollipop.
Yeah, and then you throw the motorised stick away.
Yeah.
God, what a gigantic waste.
I think Selfridges sell them.
Well, they shouldn't. I had no idea I was so behind the times. All right.
Yeah, get with it.
Yeah, I know, I'll try. Okay, thanks, Jill.
Can we have motorised McDonald's?
I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
Cheers, Jill. 0845 6060 973. Well, we've fallen at the first hurdle. The first person isn't prepared to tell us what they do, which makes, I don't know, sounds rather suspicious. Crouch End. Hello, Damien. Are you prepared to tell us what you do?
Yeah, why not?
Go on, then.
I sell cheap garden furniture.
Cheap garden furniture.
No, teak.
Teak.
Yes, no, it's not cheap. It's cheaper than most, but it's not cheap.
Right, okay, good man.
Okay, Chris Martin
Yes.
did an interview this morning on the radio. I'm not going to say the name to get someone in trouble.
Yeah.
And was asked a question and burst out crying. I don't know when it's broadcast or not.
Really? What question was it?
I don't know. I can't tell you. Because then it might give the game away. Someone could get in trouble.
In trouble with
Anyway.
in trouble with who?
Well, I don't know whether... Okay, it's all I can say. Anyway, I was ringing up about some service that I received today in Baker's in Crouch End.
Yeah.
And if I go in somewhere and there's a queue and there's empty tills, I'm not shy. I will just say, excuse me, can you open another till, please?
Right.
I mean, it's
is
the thing-
that ever successful?
Yeah, always.
Okay.
Or they'll either give you an explanation as to why they can't do it, or they'll ring a bell and then someone will come along. You'll be amazed the amount of people that stand in a queue of 10 people, one till being operated, and you say, can you open another till? And they go, yeah. Ring a bell and everyone goes, oh.
Well, how
It's all that.
stupid is that? I mean, are they blind?
Well, some people just don't like to make a fuss. I mean, it's not that I like to make a fuss, but I just don't like to stand in a queue for 10, 15 minutes.
No, I don't
mean.
mean are the customers blind. I mean, are the idiots behind the counter blind? Well, they're just chit-chatting away to themselves, are they?
Well, no, sometimes they got their head down. I don't blame them, you know. Sometimes that job you just don't want to cause a fuss, you just want to carry on with what you're doing.
All right.
But anyway, I went into Greg's the Baker's in Crouch End. I shouldn't have mentioned it, but I just did. And there was 8 people. It was 1:10 in the afternoon, so peak hour.
Yeah.
I don't shout. I say it politely. I don't command. I say, excuse me, could you get another 2 open, please? The girl looked up and she said no, and just put her head back down. I couldn't believe it. I was so embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed to ask, but it's just the way she said no. Cut me dead and carried on with what she was doing, not an explanation or anything.
It's the Great British Way. It's service British style. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. So obviously I just squeezed the sandwich a bit, put it back and went to the next place. I think we know
Right.
Marks and Spencer's.
Without mentioning any brand names, Marks and Spencers, you say? Righto.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for that, Damien. Cheers,
I've
mate.
got some more.
More what?
No, about Big Brother, I've got something I want to get off my chest.
Big Brother.
Well, it's not really about Big Brother, it's just I want to ask how a programme like that I watch sort of out the side of my head while I'm doing something on the computer can make me angry when I'm not even watching it.
Angry at what?
Well, just thinking about the way some of the people behave on it. I was stuck in a traffic jam on the M25 today, bored, so I started thinking about that girl who's going to be the most hated person on this world when she gets out. Oh, poor girl.
She'll make £1 million.
I don't think she will. I think she will drop off the radar so quick it'll be unbelievable. She's just so I don't know if they've edited it that way, but I'm sure she is a bit of a gnarly person. But, oh, God, I actually was sitting in a traffic jam getting angry at her rather than the traffic, which is...
I think one of the things that Big Brother, and I really don't want to talk about it because I haven't seen a second after they went into the house. I was just curious who they chose. Is that because it allows us to peep at people without them seeing us,
yeah.
you can get angrier and express your anger more volubly than in real life. Those people are around us all the time, but you have to keep your... Well, you might not, but most people will keep quiet in case they get attacked, you know.
Right, okay.
Or at least they might be embarrassed. So we keep quiet, but because they're on the TV, because there's a glass between us and them, then we can express our fury as we can't in real life. So, yeah, maybe it's cathartic, yeah. Do you actually feel better after?
Well, no. Well, yeah, I feel better now you've told me that it's not such a bad thing that I could get wound up by something so silly, but, yeah, no, that's fantastic. I can sleep properly now, I think.
Okay. Another satisfied customer. Thanks a lot, David.
Mate.
0845 6060 973. Maybe we should put Big Brother on there. But that actually is a brilliant idea because it's made no end of money for the people that came up with it. So far, stilettos for babies, motorised ice cream cones, and Coldplay on great bad ideas of all time. Let's see if I can fit Sutton in for the news. Hello, Anita. What do you do?
Good evening to you. I'm retired, actually.
Righto.
And I am so shocked and angry that the British people are being treated, when I say British, the English people actually are being treated so badly. It's just been on the news that Gordon Brown is going to reward councils and boroughs if they will dispose underground in their areas the nuclear waste of both our country and Europe, because he's already made a pact with Sarkozy that we will take all Europe's nuclear waste.
What?
And I am so angry.
That can't be true. That can't be true.
Well, it's on the news this evening. I'm so angry.
Anita, I'm sorry I've taken you too close to the news. Maybe that will be on it, but we'll investigate further. This is LBC.
Boys?
A text. Great bad ideas of our time. Giving politicians so much power without any consequences. Get rid of the lot of them now. How about the 42 days thing? I bet some of you think that the 42 days was one of the great bad ideas of all time. Simon Hoggart had an interesting take on it on the front page of The Guardian. His parliamentary sketch is always about the best. I always thought that Simon Hoggart would be a good man to run the country. Rarely has a government hazarded so much of its credibility for so narrow a victory, he says, and in such certainty that it will surely crumble into pitiful defeat. It was horribly close. The Prime Minister arrived in the chamber, actually chewing his nails, live on television. When will that man stop it? It's a babyish thing to do, and it doesn't give you any confidence that the man's running the country, that he's chewing his nails down to the quick. I've never seen anybody chew their nails quite like it. I mean, you see people biting their nails right enough, but not to the point where they don't actually have any nails left. Not a grown-up. Mustard used to be the thing. Put mustard. I mean, somebody should... You think they've got people to tell them about this kind of thing. You know, they groom them and they part their hair correctly and they buy shirts and ties that go and, you know, apply the makeup. And then you get a close-up of his hand and you just lose all confidence. Were there any to begin with? So the Prime Minister arrived, actually chewing his nails, live on television. Then we saw the great lumbering figure of the old turtle Ian Paisley pad down the steps, pause, be nudged by his colleagues, and roll off with them into the I lobby. So we knew that, in Austin Mitchell's words, Gordon Brown had been saved for the nation. But when the Gossamer majority was announced, the Tories and the Lib Dems erupted in an outburst of rage and hatred, swivelling round on the 9 DUP members, waving and shaking their fingers, yelling, "Shame! Traitors!" and "What were you paid?" The Speaker tried to get order. Order! 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 Gordon Brown started Prime Minister's questions with the briefing sheets covered in great black scrawls, deletions and additions, as if an angry spider had managed to hurl an inkpot over them. He almost held his own... Oh, a racket. All that noise to deliver one piece of paper, can you believe it? It's like she's tearing a building down. Anyway. He almost held his own against David Cameron. But what we noticed was the weird, dead silence from behind him. It was ineffective authoritarianism, said David Cameron, and the Tories kept up that line all day. Labour members looked stunned, as if they'd been thumped on the head by whips armed with rubber mallets. Nick Clegg, a little bit better with every question time, said the thing was a meaningless waste of time. He said, everyone knows that the proposal will not become law. It'll be blocked in the Lords, the Human Rights Commission will challenge it in court, and the European Court of Human Rights will declare it illegal. So what was the blooming point of all that, then? I think it was... I don't think it had anything to do with the 42 days thing. I think it was all just about saving face, wasn't it? He had to pick something to make him appear as though he was in charge. He had authority. And that was it. And once he decided that that was the one that he was going to go with, he couldn't back down, because to back down would have been the end of it. So in order to save face, he just piled it through and down the torpedoes. And the thing's going to get chucked out in short order anyway. Here is Streatham. James, are you going to tell us what you do?
Yes, well, I could tell you. I'm a barrister.
A barrister? Well, yes. We're really going for the ABC ones now, Raj. They'll be thrilled.
Well,
go ahead.
One quick point is that I find Coldplay quite useful for my insomnia.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Now, I was just eating my lunch today in one of the dining halls, and one of my colleagues came in and he said, breakthrough political news, it's a disaster. And I thought there'd been an assassination or something. And so I almost choked on my saliva, and I said, what's that? And he said, David Davis has resigned. I mean, why the hell is this front page news? I mean, half the country doesn't know who he is.
He stopped you eating lunch for that?
Well, I mean, and I saw it on the news, David Davis coming out as if he was delivering the Sermon on the Mount, and then, you know, I just, it seems very, very bizarre to me, very, very strange, I think.
Yes, well, I can't really get my head around why he did that. Why did he do that?
I don't understand, because apparently, the Lib Dems aren't going to contest the seat.
Yes.
It doesn't look like Labour's going to contest it either. The BNP and UKIP aren't going to contest it either. So which party is that? So it will just be him standing, and he's not standing as an independent, he's standing as a Tory, and he'll be voted back in without anyone opposing him, and he'll lose the job of Home Secretary. It just seems very, very... I don't get it.
So it's just going around a revolving door to end up back where he was?
Oh, there's a Conservative Party for you.
Well...
Can I tell you
I think that's just him for you. Go on.
Can I tell you one quick legal anomaly?
Yes.
Now, I deal with immigration law myself, but I was helping one of the junior barristers with some criminal work, and I was sickened to realise this. This is an established principle in this country's courts. Are you ready for this?
Go on.
If you kill someone, right, and then you get, you say you were provoked or da-da-da, and then it's reduced to manslaughter, usually 6 or 7 years, right? They put you in prison for, say, 8 years, but on the sentencing documents it said 7 years, right? So for murdering someone, you've been in jail for 8 years, which isn't a bad deal for you, right? Then you come out, and then what you can do is you can challenge the government, you can take them to court because they've kept you in jail for a year extra, unlawfully keeping you in prison. And there have been many cases like this, murderers who have been kept in jail for an extra year. Do you know what the average compensation is?
Oh, for a year's extra in jail?
Yeah.
No.
Just say something very low, then it will sound more impressive.
Yeah, OK. £5.60.
No, even more than that. 25 grand.
Right.
I mean, and I'm a liberal, and I'm meant to be compassionate, and I just thought this is ridiculous. And I asked one of the senior criminal barristers, I said, is this usual? And he looked at me as if I was a fool, and he said, for a year, of course, a year's liberty, 25,000, and then I think he took a little chug on his pipe.
They still smoke then, do they? Yeah, so you kill somebody, you get a holiday inside watching Sky TV, and you win 25 grand.
Yeah, because the legal technicality is in the courts they said you'd be in prison for 7 years. They keep you in prison for 8.
Yeah.
So it's a year's unlawful. I mean, I know people who work their arms off in a year and can't earn 25,000, and you get that for murdering.
Here, what do you think about this this fellow that was that is handling the miners' legal claims? Did you hear about this? How much do you earn approximately a year? You don't have to tell me. It's none of my business.
Oh, about...
Six figures. Low 6 figures, right?
Yeah.
A solicitor who specialises in claiming You're in the wrong job, mate. A solicitor who specialises in claiming compensation for sick coal miners has backed a personal profit of more than £30 million from the government-funded scheme.
That's almost as much as Cherie Blair got for her memoirs.
Jim Beresford is the head of the three-partner firm, which has been paid more than £140 million from the public purse for its work on coal miner health claims.
There aren't many coal miners left now, are there?
No, they're all dead, you see.
I thought there weren't many. How much did you get? 30 million?
30 million. Personally, yes. The three-man company, 140 million quid.
So he's got the same net worth as Jordan. That really is an indictment of society. Jordan worth 30 million. Each time I think that, I'm this close to topping myself. Then I play Coldplay and I finish the job off.
Yeah, well, if you are taking a trip down to the White Cliffs of Dover, I'll jump straight after you.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
James. 0845 6060 973. Jordan is worth £30 million. That can't be true, can it? You got your mouth open. Weren't you even listening to this show?
That sounds a bit excessive to me.
30 million quid for Jordan. I bet she is probably worth about that. Isn't Jade Gooday worth about between 5 and 10 million? So Jordan has been in the game a lot longer, and she's a lot bigger. in every way. So I bet 30 million isn't too far off. How depressing. All we need to do is get giant boobs, Raj, and we could be millionaires by this time next year.
I'll book myself in tomorrow.
Right, OK, I can't wait to see how it turns out. 0845 6060 973. I'm constructing a list of great bad ideas. So far, only things that I've put on there. And they are stilettos for babies, motorised ice cream cones, and Coldplay, whose latest Dull album is just released. Perhaps you think that additives in wine are a bad idea. For instance, paint. Cheating winemakers are adding paint to wine to pass it off as a better vintage. Government checks in Hungary, a major exporter to the UK, revealed that 40% of quality wines from top region Villainy, you believe it's called Villainy, were made from inferior grapes. And so they put paint in there to make it the right colour. One producer said this stuff could kill you if you drank enough of it. These fakes could ruin the whole wine industry. But the fakers say that EU rules do not ban paint. Well, they probably didn't think about it. In much the same way as the MEPs who are filling out their expenses say that everything that they've done up to this point is perfectly within the rules. Well, yeah, that may be, but is it right? EU rules do not ban paint. I'm on about three tins of vinyl mat a day now, man. But I can handle it. I'm just feeling a bit magnolia at the moment, that's all. Yeah, what about this, though? If you want to get rich, just do a deal with Her Majesty's government. This solicitor, specialised in minors' claims, made a profit of 30 million quid from us. New figures reveal that between 2004 and 2006, his share of the firm's annual profits was £27.5 million. In a 2-year period, during which he grew richer by 37 grand a day. Not even Ronaldo earns that kind of money. During the past 5 years, Mr. Bereford, 58, who was named last year as Britain's highest-earning solicitor, earned £30.2 million, and there's a picture of him smiling. I bet he never stops. The bulk of Bereford's profits came from fixed fees paid by the former Department of Trade and Industry for damages claims processed by the firm on behalf of former miners and their estates. Bereford's, registered more than 90,000 claims by former British coal workers with dust-related lung disease or a hand condition caused by vibrating machinery. According to government figures last year, the average legal fees paid to Bereford's for its work on each settled claim was £2,264. Only £25 less than the average compensation awarded to each of its clients. The multi-million-pound earnings generated by coal health claims has led to a spectacular transformation in the lifestyle of Mr. Beresford and his two partners, one of whom is his daughter. He's now director of Doncaster Rovers Football Club, owns a £1.8 million private jet and a string of cars, including a Bentley, a Ferrari and 2 Aston Martins. I'll come back to this in a minute. I'm already past the break. It's 8:16. LBC Travel with Will Gowing.
Thank you very much, Nick. 2 lanes of...
LBC 97.3 and IBM are giving you the chance to win tickets to Wimbledon and a night's accommodation in a 5-star hotel for 2 people. You give dinner, breakfast and a car to the tennis courts. All you have to do is make sure you're listening to Nick Ferrari at breakfast all this week to be in with a chance of winning this fantastic prize. LBC 97.3 and IBM Business Solutions are an official partner of Wimbledon. Good luck. That's a great prize. Now, as you've been hearing on LBC, we've been down at Paternoster Square for the Crisis Square Mile Run. Tom Cheel's down there now. So, Tom, have all the runners finished?
Well, Nick, yes, they have. It has been a wonderful dancing the night away, and I'm sure taking in a few light refreshments, any number of bars around Paternoster Square to choose from. The running is over, the hard work is done, and the celebration's set to continue, Nick.
Thanks very much, Tom. I could do with some light refreshments myself. How about you, Rod? That's Tom Cheel over at Paternoster Square with the Crisis Square Mile Run. Everywhere he looks, buns of steel. The phone number here, 0845 6060... Actually, I bet that's not the case at all. 0845 6060 973, that's the phone number. Text 84850, email nick.abbott@lbc.co.uk. An email. Will you be watching the comedy about Maggie on BBC4 tonight? It portrays her as a cheap floozy, flirting with Ted Heath and using her womanly ways to achieve power. I didn't know Maggie Thatcher had womanly ways. Flirting with Ted Heath. Well, talk about flogging a dead horse. Another one. They would say that the heels won't... This is about the high heels for babies. Which, if you missed it earlier on, is what's being sold in America. High-heeled shoes for babies too young to actually walk. They would say that the heels don't hurt feet, because if they did, who'd buy them? It's just invented to sap money out of parents, as if being a parent isn't expensive enough. Although I love women in high heels, I don't particularly think children that young need them. Now, I understand why men like women in high heels, for pretty much exactly the same reason that it's daft for women to wear them. Because they hobble themselves, they can't walk properly, you become unable to, flee, or really sort of... It hobbles you, basically. I mean, you don't really need to say anything more about it. And so it makes you dependent on others. You can't stand up, you have to take them off because they become too uncomfortable. You women are crazy. And men like them for the exact same reason, because it makes women vulnerable. They can't, they rely on others to keep standing up straight. So they like all that. Why women like that, though, I'm mystified. Raj, honestly, would you deliberately buy shoes that are so uncomfortable you can't wear them?
Never.
Well, then, explain it to me. I don't get it. It makes you taller. It makes your legs look better. Well, I've never really understood. I know why men like it. I just don't know why women do. Anyway, I was halfway through this thing about this lawyer, which I think is I'm going to add to this list of great bad ideas, allowing the government to negotiate with the private sector, because they always get it wrong. The story so far, there's this lawyer who's the highest paid solicitor in the land, I believe. He earned £37,000 a day between 2004 and 2006, and has banked about £30 million from the government, i.e. you. And it's all about taking on minors to claim against illnesses that they received at work, lung disease and the vibrating machinery hand thing. The multi-million-pound earnings generated by Cole Health claims has led to the spectacular transformation of his life. He's director of Doncaster Rovers Football Club. He's got a jet and a Bentley and a Ferrari and 2 Aston Martins and everything that goes with it. Oh, blimey, not that time again already. I've twice been halfway through that story, twice been undone by time. This is LBC 97.3.
This is...
Listening to LBC 97.3, the time 8:30.
Correct.
Right, I'm going to get through this in case, if it kills me. Not in case, but if it kills me. This is an example of just the... I don't know, what word can you put? Stupid, I suppose, is one of them. Way that the government negotiates with the private sector. It's not really even stupid, it's just that they don't care. So anyway, story so far, highest paid solicitor in the land, £37,000 a day. He's got about 30 million quid, he paid himself 30 million quid from us, essentially. He's treating, or he's taking on cases of minors who are suing because they got ill at work. More than 69% of lung disease claimants received less in compensation than it cost the government to administer their claim. So is that worth reading again? You've taken that in? It cost more to administer the claim than they actually gave the miners in compensation. Tens of thousands of miners were awarded less than £1,000. The smallest award was 50p. Well, that would have been a pretty black day when you get the cheque through the door and you open it up and it's for £0.5. More than 19,000 claimants died before they received anything. The DTI, Department of Trade and Industry, following negotiations with the Claimant Solicitors Group, a national representative body, negotiated exactly the same fee per case, dependent on the category, is paid to every participating solicitor in the UK. So that's the terms that they negotiated. Exactly the same fee per case, dependent on the category, is paid to every participating solicitor in the UK. It therefore follows that solicitors handling large numbers of claims would make larger sums of money. And that's exactly what he did. Something like, I don't know, there's 760,000 claims made by law firms across Britain. When the final payment has been made next year, it will have cost £4.1 billion. Of that, £1.3 billion is solicitors' fees. In coalfield communities, anger at the slow pace of payments was joined by outrage when it became clear that the big winners were not going to be the miners, but their solicitors. During negotiations to set the solicitors' fees, there seems to have been no appreciation of what the National Audit Office called the potential economies of scale to be gained by individual firms from processing large numbers of claims. Any law firm with sufficient would-be claimants was sitting on a gold mine. 10 firms of solicitors have earned more than £30 million. 3 have been paid more than £100 million. How could they not have thought of that? We'll pay you the same thing per claimant. And they said, righto, we'll go out and get 10,000 claimants, and then sit with our feet up smoking a cigar for the rest of our lives. If you want to make a fortune, simply enter into negotiations with Her Majesty's government. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to stick that on the list. Great bad ideas of our time: stilettos for babies, motorised ice cream cones, Coldplay, and allowing the government to negotiate with the private sector. How about tops that don't meet bottoms on... What's the politically correct term for fat birds? I'll leave that with you, Rog. Thurrock. Hello, Greg.
Hello, Nick.
Greg.
All right?
Yes.
You mentioned in passing at the beginning of the programme about religion.
Oh, yes.
How it was...
Go on.
The intelligence, as the intelligence people rises...
People with higher IQs less likely to believe in God, according to a recent study.
Yeah, so as we continue on our merry way in evolution, and we'll shed religion and...
That is essentially what's happening.
Well, this that I've read, it sort of flies in the face of all that, really. Well, I've just finished reading Richard Dawkins' book, The God Delusion.
Oh, yeah.
And from further research from that, there was a poll that went out through America that we're talking about now, and 90% say that they've never doubted the existence of God.
Right.
And that they're certain that they're going to answer for their sins. And there's 53% who believe that the universe is 6,000 years old.
Yes.
And what was the other one? I think it's about 45% think that Jesus is coming back in the next 50 years.
Right.
But only about 12% of people in America believe in evolution.
That can't be true, surely.
Well, that's the one that really stuck me, and because I thought to myself, well, first of all, I thought, well, if 90% believe in God and the Bible and so on and so forth,
yeah,
then 12%, we can only leave 10%, but there were 12% that evolution is factual, but that leaves at least 88% who believe in intelligent design, that God created us and Adam's rib and the whole thing.
Yes.
And, so maybe the rest of the world's carrying on forward, evolving, but America's sort of stuck in a loop somewhere.
Well, I would question those statistics because,
you're perfectly entitled to.
This is no proof or anything, but The Simpsons had an episode about this, and they went to a museum, and they had the it was a museum of natural history, and they had, the dinosaurs and so on.
Yeah.
And I think Ned Flanders, that's the character with his 2 kids, he came in, and of course he didn't like what he saw.
Right.
And he was directed to the Creationists exhibit, right, which was just, when you press a button, and a giant finger from space comes down and a lightning bolt comes out of it, and Adam and Eve appear to the music of the Doobie Brothers singing "What a Fool Believes." Well, I didn't think, how could they possibly get away with that? But if something that is as family friendly and generally consumed as The Simpsons can get away with it, I can't possibly believe that only 12% of people in America believe in evolution.
Well,
maybe they just asked the wrong people. Maybe they asked people in the centre of America, because the further out to the rim you get, I'm sure the brighter people become.
Well, possibly, but even if they asked, I don't know, let's not point any particular things, but if they asked the wrong people or the right people, whichever way you want to look at it, it would have still been a reasonable number of people they asked.
Yeah.
To get any, or even to get that sort of percentage in any part of America, let alone the rest of the world, to say that 88% of them are walking around thinking it was all done flash bang wallop.
What a picture! What a photograph!
Yeah, that's quite startling, really, isn't it?
It gives you pause for thought. Yeah.
So I just thought I'd chip that in because you didn't follow on through with it, and it was such an I was so amazed by the figures. I thought, well, I'll just throw that one in as well,
just to depress us further. Yeah. Okay. Good job.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Greg. Hey, by the way, what do you do for a living? You don't have to tell me.
I'm a truck driver.
A truck driver. Good for you. Cheers, mate. Are you going on strike?
No, not really.
Is that a yes?
I'll think about it.
All right. You let me know. Cheers, Greg. The story is people with higher IQs are less likely to believe in God, according to a study. Professor, now you might like to put religion on this list of great bad ideas of all time. I couldn't possibly comment. Professor Richard Lynn, Emeritus Professor of Psychology at Ulster University, said many more members of the intellectual elite considered themselves atheists than the national average. A decline in observance over the past century was directly linked to a rise in average intelligence, he claimed. Academics are less likely to believe in God than almost anyone else. A survey of Royal Society Fellows found that 3.3% of Fellows of the Royal Society believed in God, at a time when 68.5% of the population described themselves as believers. That's some difference. A poll in the 1990s found that only 7% of members of the American National Academy of Sciences believed in God. So the figures that he gave are completely the reverse of what you'd call the intellectual elite in America. The American National Academy of Sciences found that 7% of the members believed in God. Professor Lynn said that most primary children believed in God, but but when they entered adolescence, as their intelligence increased, many started to have doubts. He said, why should fewer academics believe in God than the general population? He said, I believe it's simply a matter of the IQ. Academics have higher IQs than the general population. Several Gallup poll studies of the general population have shown that those with higher IQs tend not to believe in God. He said that religious belief had declined across 137 developed nations in the 20th century at the same time as people became more intelligent. Dr. David Hardman, Principal Lecturer of Learning Development at London Metropolitan University, said it's very difficult to conduct experiments that would explicate a causal relationship between IQ and religious belief. Well, if explicate is show, I think he's just done exactly that. So it wasn't very hard. Quite simple, in fact. A call in Eltham. Hello, Phil. Are you going to tell us what you do?
Hi, Nick. Hi.
Hey, Phil.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. You going to tell us what you do?
I had it on hands-free. Sorry.
No. Are you going to tell us what you do for a living? You don't have to.
Oh, I do, database analyst, I suppose you call me.
You do what?
Sort of play around with data all day, every day. In the insurance industry.
Oh, right.
So basically anything to do with databases, reports, sort of...
Trying to catch people out in lies on their claim forms, that sort of thing.
More working out what premium should be for a particular type of insurance.
Right.
Sort of calculating it, sort of working with actuaries.
If I wanted to insure my voice,
Yeah.
How much? Say I wanted, £5 million on losing my voice.
It'd probably be something like 1% of that value.
Oh, well, forget it then.
Yeah, because you'd need to work out your future losses
Yeah.
and then calculate the present value.
Future potential earnings, yeah. £3.60.
Yeah, and then sum it up.
1% of £3.60. Right, I think I could probably spring for that. OK, Phil, what have we got?
Yeah.
In fact, actually, I might have to take you after the... Is it something I can fit in 30 seconds?
Ideally not.
Ideally not, he says. Right, hold right there and I'll come back, all right? It's 84850 to text. The phone number is 0845 6060 973. We've had a goodly spread of different occupations, haven't we? I think we've covered pretty much everything so far. One person did say retired. I should have asked retired from what? Because retired is, it spans a whole panoply of potentials. Potentials? Potentialities. Wish I'd never started that sentence now, as probably do you. 8:44 and a quarter. LBC Travel with Will Gowing.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Just getting reports in.
Let's get back to it.
LBC 97.3 is celebrating the Boardwalk at Lakeside's first birthday, and to enjoy the occasion, they're giving you the chance to win £1,000 worth of vouchers. If you go to the Boardwalk's if you come to the Boardwalk's first birthday party, there'll be music and dancing and free entertainment throughout the day and into the evening. Everyone's welcome. Visit the Boardwalk at Lakeside. Its restaurants, bars and cinemas are open from early till late, so you can enjoy them whenever you want. To get your hands on the money, make sure you listen to Jenny Barnett this Friday from 1 on LBC 97.3. Back at Eltham. Hello, Phil.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, I meant to say, sorry about screwing up the intro of this segment, but the thing is, I've got my phone on hands-free and the quality is dreadful.
Honestly, I didn't notice, and even if I had, I'd already would have forgotten about it.
Yeah, but also you can't listen to the radio, can you? Because it doesn't come on until so many seconds.
Yeah, it's about 5 or 6 seconds for a very good reason. Yeah.
For swearing, I suppose. But,
That's right.
Anyway, yeah, I've basically 2 whole months ago, I had hay fever really, really badly, and basically I had. The hay fever eventually went, but I had a blocked ear.
Oh, poor baby.
Stop whining.
But Nick, it's got to be one of the most aggravating symptoms I've ever had in my life.
Can you hear yourself loudly in that one ear?
Oh, no, I had the opposite, where I couldn't barely hear at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Waxy build-up?
No, well, what it was, and this is where it gets a little bit icky, but I appreciate people probably eating at the moment. But
oh no, go on.
But, I tried all the anti-inflammatory drugs. Don't worry, I won't mention the names, but to
aspirin.
No, Sudafed.
Oh right.
Otravine.
All that stuff, yeah.
All that stuff, yeah. Nothing sort of worked at all. But it's more sort of public service announcement. The thing that's going wrong if your ears get blocked after a cold or a hay fever is your eustachian tubes can't open properly.
Your what now?
Eustachian. So, but basically, it's like a tube that goes from your middle ear to your throat.
Right.
Normally when you swallow or yawn, you hear your ears click.
Yeah.
Or when you go on a plane, when it's landing or climbing, your ears just click normally.
Yeah, yeah.
That's because your eustachian tube's opening briefly.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
But the problem is, after a hay fever or whatever, they can remain blocked. And you have real deafness. In children, it can lead to glue ear. And it's a horrible condition. And it can last for a year if you don't eat it.
Can't you just go to a man and he sucks it out with a mini vacuum cleaner?
Well, funny you say that. I was scouring the internet, desperate for a cure, and there is actually something called... it's actually like a trade name, but it's also its generic name. But it's called like an Ottovent. And it's... I know it sounds a bit funny or whatever, but it's like a balloon.
What, that you use on your own ear?
that you
I would caution against that.
you would use it on your nostril.
On your nostril? You stick it up your nose?
Not quite. You close one. You close. It's my left ear that was blocked.
Yeah.
So you close your right nostril with your finger.
Mm-hmm.
Shut your mouth.
Sorry?
Not you. I just mean close your mouth.
Right. Shut your mouth, yes.
And then shove this sort of balloon. It's not a normal balloon, but it's a softer sort of material that's not so hard to inflate.
Where do you shove it?
Put it to your nostril.
Up your nose?
With a sort of little widget, so you can...
And what happens then?
Well, then you just blow into... You get a lung full of air, and then blow into this thing to inflate it, just a little bit. And then this is the bit that's a little bit icky.
Oh, God.
But you just have to let it go, release the pressure in your head.
Yeah.
And basically, the pressure from this balloon suddenly shoots right out this tube. And
blows your eyeballs out.
Well, basically, sort of, yeah. And it's straight away, my ear clicked.
I don't think that's a very good idea. I wouldn't recommend treating yourself at home as an alternative to going to the ENT department of your local hospital. Because I used to get waxy build-up in my ears all the time. Come to find out. And I had to go to a man who tutted every time I went. He's like, oh, God, you again. And he had to stick a hoover down my ear and suck it all out. I come to find out, the reason was because in the shower, I used to pour water to, you wash your ear, and then you get the soap out by just letting the shower go into your ear.
Yeah.
And the water goes down and hardens the wax, which then can't come out.
Yeah.
So I stopped doing that. I have the dirtiest ears in the world now.
But you're quite lucky in that respect, Nick, because that only affected your outer ear.
Yeah.
I.e. this side of the eardrum, as opposed to the innards, which, and I appreciate what you mean with the ENT surgeon, but if you read the pewter, obviously everything's correct on that. They tend to be positive.
Oh, he's fading away. I feel like a miracle.
It's so annoying. I know it sounds trivial, but when you go swimming, you can't get the water out your ear.
Exactly right, yeah. And then the water hardens the wax, and the wax sticks in your ear and doesn't come out, and then you have to go to the doctor again, and he tuts and raises his eyes to the roof and charges you 90 quid. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know how annoying that is.
Yeah, very much so, yeah. Okay, well, I'm glad everything came out all right. It's a bit revolting that you told us all about it, but thanks anyway.
Hopefully it'll help others who might have the same problem.
Okay, good man. Thanks, Phil. Yeah, all you have to do is blow up a balloon with your nose and then let it all go back in. Did I get that right? You're screwing your face up. You're thinking about that. Ooh, I don't like it. Don't like it, you're thinking. Great bad ideas. Treating your own ear problems. Treating your own ear problems? Stilettos for babies, motorised ice cream cones, Coldplay, allowing the government to negotiate with the private sector, tops that don't meet bottoms on... What have you come up with, Rod?
You want my idea for the worst ideas ever?
No, tops that don't meet bottoms on larger ladies. How about that? You know, that...
Yeah, muffin tops.
Well, exactly, yes. This explosion of white puffy flesh between a tight top and a tight bottom on women that should ordinarily only be seen in tents. No offence. And treating your own maladies. Always go to a trained professional. That's my advice. Isn't that right, Joan?
I believe it to be true.
What do you do for a living? You don't have to tell me.
Well, what do you mean? I don't do things for a living so much as I do things that fit round bringing up a family. That's what I always did.
Right.
I never went for a career. I never wanted a career. I wanted my career to be bringing up my family.
So you're a homemaker, as they say in America.
But when my husband stopped giving me enough money to feed the kids and that sort of thing,
yeah,
I sort of picked up on lots of things. I did lunches in a pub. I did the lunchy bit. I then went.
Oh, hang on a minute. Lunch in a pub? That's a ploughman's and a pint.
It was. Well, it was doing like turkey sandwiches, beef, salads, lots of salads and sandwiches,
right?
Things like that. Then I went to be. You're going to be very tired when I get to the end of this, you know.
Mate, I'm already wishing I hadn't asked.
Yeah, I did so many different things. Just going from one kind of job then to office kinds of jobs, and I did credit control for one group of companies.
Did you work in a lot of different offices?
Yeah, and then I discovered that I loathed offices.
Well, yeah, me too. I found that out really early in life. The thing about offices, I wonder if you found this is true, it doesn't matter what company you work for or what business they're in, all offices are the same.
They are. They're the same people in there.
Yeah. Isn't that scary?
No matter what office you go in, there is that person who sits there and goes on and on and on about how hard they're working, and they don't do a thing.
And they're moaning about, oh, well, that person's using my mug, and
yes.
Where's my coat hanger gone? And somebody using my paper clips, you know.
Look what you've come in wearing today. Every morning you had to defend what you were wearing that morning.
And because because these are the only people you see during the day, each one has picked their secret sexual fantasy object.
Oh.
No?
There's a lot of that sort of thing going on, isn't there? Because you're all thrown together, and eventually everybody's going to have some kind of reaction to everybody else, aren't they?
I thought you were going to say everyone's going to have sex with each other.
What
kind of places have you been working at, Joan? Here, Joan, I'm right up against the news. We haven't even talked about what you called in about yet. I'll come back, all right? This is LBC.
Stressed, anxious.
7.3.
Fabulous.
Oh, no, it's got the hiccups again. I'll have to reboot. When in doubt, turn it off and on again. They almost sounded rude. And we don't want that, do we, Joan?
No.
Here we are, Joan.
Any
back,
of that stuff.
No, back together again like peaches and herb. Go on.
Hello. Well, if we're going to talk about religion and intelligence...
Yeah.
How will that be?
I don't know. It depends whether you're going to say anything controversial or not.
All right. Let's start with the word God.
God, yes.
And believe in God.
Right.
And the word God simply means good.
The word God means good.
And so it depends on what you have in your head. You know, do you think God represented by... good represented by God is a father figure or some kind of entity, or simply the essence of good that we all would like to have if only the world were better. So then if you believe that there is this ultimate good and we would like to attain that, then you have to say, well, if I want to do that, I've got to put in a little bit of effort. And then you say, well, I've also got a part of me that says I've got to live here in the real world, the material world, but there's a bit of me which isn't all that material world. It's a little bit which is spiritual. Are you with me?
Well, I don't really know where you're going. Where are you going?
Well, because I'm going to say that being spiritual is only just the other part of yourself. You're material and you're also spiritual. But once the organized religions take hold of that and start telling you you believe in this and this and this, and this is the doctrine, then you're onto a completely different set of things, aren't you? Where they really want to take you over. Whereas if you're a spiritual being, it's your own path, your own spiritual path.
Right.
Does that make any more sense?
Well, sounds like you're describing a conscience.
Well, in a way it is. But because religious factions take that and then decide that they make rules about how you do this and how you do that, and you either sort of succumb to that feeling of, I'm one with this group, and it feels comfortable,
right.
Therefore I will do what they say, or you say, no, I'm a spiritual being and I don't need to belong to a group.
Right.
No?
Yeah.
Is that a difference? Do you see a difference between being spiritual and actually being religious?
Yes.
So you don't either have to be non-intelligent or intelligent to believe in the spiritual being that you are.
But having a conscience, if that's what you're describing, doesn't really have anything to do with believing in God.
Well, what do you think believing in God means?
Believing in God.
What is God?
What is God? We've only got an hour.
There must be something that comes right off the top of your head when you say God.
A big bloke with white flowing robes and long hair who, who has lightning coming out of his fingers.
Yummy.
Yummy? What point are you trying to make, Joan?
No, but that's the thing. When people say God, they're giving it a human sort of entity, aren't they?
Yes.
And, of course, that's not right.
How do you know?
Well, because we're only human. And we're nowhere near God. We've got God in us, got a little spark there. But we can't very well put as the ultimate a person that we look upon as looking like ourselves.
Why not?
Well, because we're not there.
Where?
At God.
How do you know?
Well, because most of the time I know I'm not.
There are no knowns. There are only known unknowns.
Well, what would you say this earth was? Would you say it was heaven here?
It depends what you mean by heaven. You mean, do I think it's heavenly? Well, yes and no, depending on whether I'm on holiday or not. Do I think I'm living in heaven? No.
Right, so you're not living in heaven. And do you think you're living in hell?
Well, sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So we are...
I mean, last night, for instance, there was nothing to watch on TV. That was like a living hell, Joan, honestly.
Terrible. Painful.
Yeah.
So we're between the two. We're not in heaven or we're not in hell. But we're on a planet that has a bit of both.
No, I don't believe it does. You're talking about two completely different things. People calling it heaven and hell is totally removed from it actually being. We're just being flippant when we say that's heaven or hell.
No, I'm not.
We're not. No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about one is. Like if you go on a holiday and you put your feet up and you have a cocktail and you're looking out to the sea and the nice breeze is coming and ruffling your hair, you'll think, oh, this is heaven. But you don't actually mean heaven. You're just being flippant.
No, I think you do mean a sort of glimpse of what heaven might be.
No, you don't.
Because heaven is not where there is nasty killing and struggles and fighting and all sorts of nasties.
Well, it might be. You don't know.
No, it isn't. That's not heaven. That's hell.
That's here.
Yes, but we have a bit of both. We have these little glimpses of heaven because we remember it. See, we have a memory of heaven.
We have a memory of heaven?
Yeah, before we came to Earth.
Oh, you're kidding, right?
Oh, not.
Before we came to Earth, where did we come from?
As a spirit. When we were a spirit, we didn't need what we need here on Earth.
You're not a friend with Tom Cruise, are you, by any chance?
No.
Right.
No. No, I wouldn't like that at all.
Well, I don't know. I think that you two could get on like a house on fire.
I'm telling you, I wouldn't like to be part of any...
organised religion?
Religious sect that says exactly...
Well, anybody that says stuff like that is not part of a religious sect is marked down as a nutter.
You're at it again.
But it's true.
You're at it again?
But it's true.
Goodness.
I'm not saying you're a nutter. I'm saying that that's what people say. Unless you've got an organised religion backing you up, if you say things... I mean, just take any religion, so the things that they believe in. If just one person was saying that, you'd get locked up. But because you've got an enormous amount of people who are saying the same thing, or this is what we believed, don't discriminate against me because of my religious beliefs, then we go, oh, right you are, and everyone backs off. But it's just one bloke in the street was saying, take the Scientologists, for instance.
Yeah.
That we're all, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it's something like we're all descended from aliens who were thrown by some higher being into a volcano on Earth where we died and became spirits that then entered the bodies of or something like that.
Well,
but if that wasn't an organised religion that was saying that, if it was just one person in the street, well, you get very odd looks.
Definitely. But have you ever seen a dead body?
Have I ever seen a dead body? No.
Well, my first experience of seeing a dead body was, oh, hello, there's a body, but where is the person? Because the body was there, sure enough. There's nothing wrong, there's the body.
Right. Did you think about...
where has the rest gone?
Right. Do you think about hiding the murder weapon, Joan? Clearing up the evidence, making sure your prints aren't all over.
Yes, we'll be all over you in a minute.
You heard that? A threat. Help, I'm calling the police. So have we dealt with this then yet, Joan? Because I'm really confused. I've got no idea. On my own show, I've got no idea what's happening.
Oh. Well, all right, have you ever thought about it yourself? Religion, spirituality, anything?
Yes. Of course, everyone does.
All right, well, what was your conclusion?
I don't know.
Oh, well, that was easy, wasn't it?
Well, no, it wasn't. It was...
Still working on it, though.
Yeah, endless nights, torturously staring out the window at university, listening to Pink Floyd records.
Oh, that was excellent. Good training.
Thinking about, life, the universe and everything.
Anyway.
And coincidentally, we came up with the same number that Gordon Brown plucked out of the air, 42.
42.
Yeah.
Excellent. And when you think of it, 3 troops were killed by a suicide bomber in the middle of Afghanistan. I mean, if 3 members of our army, our security forces, get blown up by one little man who decides to blow them up, do you really think that having 42 days to put people away for some reason or other is going to stop a suicide bomber?
I don't think that it had anything to do with that. As I said before, I think that 42 days was just plucked out of the air.
Yes.
And because his current position is a rocky one, and he seems to be losing things left, right and centre, he had to pick something to fight on, to stand his ground, to show that he was still in charge. And I think randomly, this was it.
Well, before you say goodbye to me, because you will do very fast now.
Yes.
Yes. Who is actually doing all the changes to our holding position?
Our holding position?
Yes.
What does that mean?
How long you can be held without charge?
Oh, well, there haven't been any yet, and probably nor will there be, because it's going to get chucked out of the Lords, and the EU is going to stamp all over it, so it's not going to change.
Well, it's the EU who wants it in place. Because...
No, Joan, the EU will quash it.
Well, that would be a weird one, because the EU is the one who's putting the new laws in place, which mean you will be able to be picked up and held at any time, or for any amount of time, rather.
Right.
So if it turns around on human rights, that would be interesting.
Let your first phone call be to me. All right, Joan. If they only give you one call, make it to me.
I will.
Cheers, my dear. 0845 6060 973. I believe in Joan. And I don't care who knows it. It's 9:15. LBC Travel with Will Gowing.
Thank you very much, Nick. Well, the M4 is closed.
You can text on 84850. Here's some texts. Ask the women listeners why they wear high heels when they are so painful. Okay. Asked. Jade Goody Jordan, far too intelligent to go to church. What does that mean?
Something to do with rich people not believing in God.
No, intelligent people don't believe in God, not rich people. I know there is a correlation between riches and intelligence, but I think they skipped Jordan. Although, you know what? She's worth, what is it? Somebody said £30 million. How much are you worth, Raj? Probably about the same as me, right? Nothing
Yeah,
at all.
£7.80.
Yeah, £7.80, yeah. So who's stupid now? See? Another text. I know someone who shoved a stretched-out paperclip in his ear to get out the wax. Oh, don't do it. He shoved it in too far and seriously hurt his ear. Well, he would. The weird thing is, the guy was a doctor. Well, doctors, people can be both smart and stupid at the same time. All doctors I know are fit that category perfectly. Smart and stupid. And usually drunk.
The smartest people usually have no common sense. That's
Common sense, yeah, you're absolutely right. No street smarts. It's the people who believe that the choice must be either God or atheism who are thick. Okay, another one. Chips. I think we've got a serial chip texter, don't we? Chips, when will the price come down? I'll starve soon. Of chips? Has the price of chips gone up? I haven't bought a bag of chips and I can't remember how long. To eat here or to go. What do they call it? Open or closed, right? You had two choices. Abby's looking at me like I've lost my mind. Chips? One doesn't buy chips outside, does one? She's thinking. The Apprentice winner is a winker. I couldn't agree more. He winked at his interviewer last week, says that text. Another, The Apprentice. He picked the wide boy who had misleading information on his CV and faltered during the last task. The female had to encourage him to carry on. I'm sorry, but I missed the entire thing. I'm weaning myself off reality shows. Another one, Nick. The banks have got over the problem of opening an extra till by removing 80% of them and sending their staff on lunch. Well, it's an excellent... see, you can't open an extra till if they're not there. Genius. A good idea is the Z-Wear jeans design that allows you to zip your jeans in half to mix and match colours. What's that about? You're a woman, Abby. What's she talking about? No idea. I'm backing David Davis all the way. At least someone isn't sleepwalking, says that one. Another. There are people who believe in God and accept the evolution. Is atheism about intelligence or about arrogance? I was an arrogant atheist and so full of my own smug cleverness. That tendency is still there, but now I see it for what it is. Well, there's arrogance on both sides of the divide, really, aren't there? I don't think arrogance is an atheistic trait. I think arrogance just comes from people who believe that what they believe is absolutely right, regardless of what anybody else says. Let's take a call. Gravesend, hello, Sean.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. Are you prepared to tell us what you do?
I'm a mother.
Rightio.
And a housewife.
Okay.
And at the moment, I'm in bed because I'm not well. And I have a fantastic husband who's looking after me.
Oh. Chicken soup?
No, it is pancetta and penne in a tomato sauce. Which the pancetta and the tomato sauce I cooked and he cooked the penne.
Like I said, Raj, we're doing fantastically well. Talk about ABC1. This is great. I bet you bought it from Waitrose.
I make no comment.
Anyway, Sean.
No, not Waitrose.
Oh,
not
M&S.
Waitrose. No, what I want to say is about politicians with principles.
Yes.
David Davis has them.
Does he?
Yes, he does, and I totally agree with what he's done.
But what's the point?
What the point is, he's taking the debate into the country. He's taking the debate to the electorate. We, as the electorate, did not have the debate. We only had what Labour wanted us to hear. Do you know, I listened to Min Campbell yesterday, and I thought, you are spot on. I listened to Diane Abbott, and I thought, because I listened to Daily Politics, and I thought she'd been bought.
Well, what paper do you read? The Mail?
No, I don't.
Telegraph?
No.
Express?
No. I have the Express on the Sunday because I do their crossword.
Well, what daily paper do you buy?
I don't buy it. My husband does, and that's Guardian. But
Guardian, radio. Okay, well, perfect example. Oh, well, okay, you read the Guardian. Now, the Guardian, you say that you only got one end of the argument. That's absolutely not true. The other side of the argument was presented with much more fury than the government side by all of the newspapers. They were all against it, pretty much. And then we come to find out that about 60%, something like that, more or less 2/3 of the population supports the 42 days.
It depends on what the poll, how the positioning of the poll was put.
Well, of course.
You know, do you believe in terrorists being locked up for 42 days? Of course they do. But do you believe in the innocent being banged up? No. And this is how the government have played it. This is how Ian Blair has played it. I'm sorry, I am totally and utterly against this.
Right, but now David Davis has resigned in order to get hired again. What's that going to achieve?
It's going to get because the argument has been skewed by the government.
No, but I'm saying that it hasn't, because all of the media outlets, every paper that you buy, I think I read them all, and I think without exception, well, maybe the Sun was an exception, said that...
and the Daily Telegraph was too. You know,
they wanted the 42 days too? No, I read many articles in the Daily Telegraph that were against. Well, perhaps they put both sides of the argument, but there certainly wasn't the case that only one side of the argument was presented to the British public. That's completely false.
But I think it was the way that the polls were skewed. And what David Davis is doing is standing on a principle, and good luck to him.
Well,
and
yeah, okay, but I understand. I understand your support, but I just don't understand what his going around a revolving door to come back where he started with less power than he started with. I don't understand what it's going to achieve.
It's going to achieve that he's going to be shown to. What he's going to do is show that there are certain members of the opposition, like Mohammed Sarwar, and I saw his face yesterday when Jackie, whatever her name is, Jackie Smith said, well, we will look at, giving compensation. She never said we will do it. It was we will look at it.
Yeah.
So by inference, he has been bought off. Andrew McKinley, Thurrock. The walrus from Thurrock, who did Dr. David Kelly in, and who is nasty.
Well, I don't understand why this... but you called in saying that you agree with David Davis and you support him in what he's doing. I don't understand why he's doing it. Is there an ulterior motive here? I mean, is he after the top job? Is he... what's going on here?
He is standing for a principle.
But what's the point?
The principle is that too much of our freedom is being eroded by the government.
Well, that's certainly true, but whether he gets elected back in that safe seat or not isn't going to make any difference whatsoever. This 42 days thing is never going to get on the statute books. It's going to get chucked out first by the Lords and then by Europe. And then, if it gets through both of those, which is very unlikely, then the Human Rights Brigade are going to kick it right out of court, aren't they?
No, but then Labour could bring in the Parliamentary Act. Now, this was never on the agenda, never in their manifesto. This was a Gordon Brown thing. I'm going to be tough. I'm going to be this.
Yeah, of course, that's right. I believe that's true, yeah.
And it was never on their manifesto.
Right, but he had to pick something in order to shore up his crumbling authority, and this was just happened to be the one that he picked. Listen, Sean, I'm really sorry, but I'm up against the news, but thanks very much, all right? And I hope you get better soonish.
Okay, so
I'm not sure that pancetta is really what you should be eating. I think chicken soup is the cure of choice. It's LBC 97.3. The time here is coming towards 9:30.
This is LBC.
LBC 97.3 news time at 9:30.
Good evening.
Clive Paul.
Yes, here I am, and I'll be here at 10. From 10 till 1.
You're, I was going to say omnivorous, but that's not true, is it? You're ubiquitous.
Yeah, something like that, yes.
France may have to reconsider its medical definition of death.
Oh.
After a heart attack victim came alive in the operating theatre as doctors were about to remove his organs for transplant.
Oh. Have you been saving this up to scare me again?
Yes. The 45-year-old man owes his life to the fact that surgeons authorised to remove his organs for transplant weren't immediately available. Under experimental rules adopted in France last year to make more organ transplants possible, the man had already reached the point where he could officially be regarded as dead.
Oh, yeah.
Similar rules allowing the removal of organs when a patient's heart has stopped and fails to respond to prolonged massage already apply in several other European countries, including here.
Oh.
So don't lay down too long.
No.
In any one place.
No, absolutely.
Don't close your eyes, even here. He's well now, fortunately, but he owes them 2 kidneys, 2 eyes and a heart.
So you don't like Coldplay?
Oh, please don't tell me you like Coldplay.
That look on your face. I don't really know that much about them, to be honest. But
God, they're so dull. I mean, really, really boring. Just staggeringly... They are without merit. Completely. I hate them. A lot.
I get that impression, yes. Who's the main bloke?
Oh, Chris Martin.
Yeah,
I
him.
just want to punch him repeatedly in the face.
Does
him
he?
and his stupid jumpsuit.
Does he really love himself?
I've no idea.
If only, I heard, flicking around the dial, I heard a little bit of an interview. Well, I say an interview. He'd gone along for an interview and then he just, I really don't want to talk. Just sort of, no, I can't cope. I can't talk about what I do. It's all too much. And he just walked out.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm beginning to think better of it.
Yes. So I don't know. I might do a little survey about Coldplay later on.
Oh, the kids love it. Well, it's not the kids.
Like Nick and well, you know, your view seems to be the predominant one, certainly in this building.
Hands up, who likes Coldplay through the glass there? I bet Abby likes them, but she doesn't want to raise her hand.
She's too embarrassed to say so
yeah.
now, you see.
So I'll say something mean.
Yeah.
But you do, don't you? You've got Coldplay albums sitting right alongside your Lighthouse family albums. Am I right? See?
Yes.
And what's not that is Simply Red, correct? She's shaking her head. That's
You're
a yes.
Not saying Coldplay are like Simply Red, are you?
I know,
Is it
Simply
that
Red.
bad?
No, Simply Red are better than Coldplay.
Oh my God, it's that
At least he
bad.
can sing.
Okay, well that's something we might explore later on.
Coldplay. I mean, why would anybody deliberately choose to buy that music? It is awful.
The biggest selling
Unless our
album of
sister
the year.
station is playing it, in which case it's a super fantastic and a great addition to anyone's collection.
Yes. Well, mind you, it was free, so no wonder it's doing well.
It's free?
Yeah. they
Well,
were
it's
giving
still
it away,
too
didn't
much.
they? Yeah. They should pay you. And
Are you really going to have people ask telling you whether they like Coldplay or not?
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
people love them.
Well, I haven't yet.
Unaccountably.
I haven't met anybody yet, apart from Abby in there, and she wouldn't put her hand up, so she doesn't want to admit to it.
I think it's just that they're bland. That's the thing. Nothing sells like bland. And they are the blandest rock, and I use the word rock in its loosest possible sense.
But you are a specialist, though, aren't you? I mean, you are a bit of a rocker.
Well, I don't know anything about music. I just play it.
Yeah. But you know what you like.
Why? Who doesn't?
Yeah. Well, what would be the opposite of bland then? You know, if it's not Coldplay.
Vital, interesting, alive.
Who?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Yeah. Okay.
There's no end of bands. You don't have to go back to the 70s.
No, you don't. No.
Yeah, the stuff that's happening right now in all forms of in all genres. I hate that word, but I can't think of anything else to say right now. But in all genres of music, there's no end of good stuff. Why do people buy Coldplay? It's because it's like buying a tin of Magnolia wall paint. It's bland. People like bland.
Yeah.
It's white sliced bread made to music.
Yeah. Actually, that's funny you should say that about Magnolia. I mean, it's always a safe bet, isn't it? If you're selling a house. Mm-hmm. Although, and all the other popular paints, if you go into to look at the ones that you're kind of naturally drawn to that are kind of safe, right? And it's called Hint of Straw. or white tie or something. And actually, they're all magnolia. They're just slightly different shades of magnolia.
It's actually,
they charge more if they call it white tie.
Yeah, it's actually sort of skin colour.
Yeah.
For your Anglo-Saxon skin colour, kind of.
You don't go out in the sun very much, do you?
Ever.
No, you look like somebody who would burn.
Yes, instantly.
It's certainly your skin colour.
Yeah, I get a tan in a basement.
Yes. Yes, there we go. That's a few of the things that we might be talking about. Coldplay and
one you've said.
And paint colours.
Get out! You're not going to talk about paint colours, are you?
Tonight we're talking about paint drying. Yes. No, we're not. All right. Something else on here. Would you have your haircut in a pub? Or is there anything else they can do to get you back into the pub?
I wouldn't drink in a pub where people were having their hair cut. That's hideous.
That's a bit unhygienic, actually.
Awful.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the dog thing in the B&Bs. I wouldn't go to I wouldn't eat in a place that had a dog in the kitchen. What, are they out of their minds?
No,
people moaning about that.
No, I agree with you there. I don't want to stay with dogs. In fact, when you're looking for somewhere to stay, if it says dogs are welcome. Right. I think, well, that's a no-no.
Yeah.
I'm not going there, thank you very much.
Right.
Yes, you wouldn't have your hair cut in the pub then. Do you ever go to the pub? No, I'm serious.
Is this a criticism of my haircut?
I notice you have had one.
Yeah.
But were they drunk when they did it? Exactly.
Did you get that on the council, did you?
Yes, quite.
I think it'll be a cold day in hell when I take criticisms about my hair from you, by the way.
I don't need a haircut, do I? But no, there is a pub that is doing haircuts now.
Oh, well, good luck to them.
They're not selling the drinks. People are not going to pubs anymore.
What?
No. Pubs are empty, unless they turn them into restaurants.
Yeah. Gastropubs, that's the way forward. Because people don't want to just stand up at the bar, having a fag, and drinking pints all night long. We're past that now, most of us.
That's right. And drink driving. You know, you've got to be able to walk. If you want to go and drink, you've got to be able to walk.
Yes.
Yeah, and most people don't have a local on the, corner of their street.
How country pubs survive, I have no idea. How do they survive? How do people... Well, I suppose in the country...
selling drinks.
Well, I suppose in the country, people just aren't that bothered about getting caught drunk driving, are they? They probably won't get caught.
I think they're going out for meals, and one person doesn't drink, and they make their money that way. But, you go into a country pub now, and you don't really see many regular drinkers at all. It's, there used to be, in any pub, in fact, you'd see these characters that were always there at the bar, popping up the bar and practically lived there. Like in the soaps, they all live in the pub.
Well, I used to work in a pub for about 3 years, and they'd be queuing outside in the morning at 11:30 for you to open the door.
God. I don't think that happens now. Or does it?
Oh, I bet it does.
Yeah.
At least in the place that I was working.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there we are. That's 3 topics now.
Okay.
I'm going to go before I finish the whole show.
Rightio. There he is.
Thanks very much.
Clive Ball, coming up after the news at 10 o'clock. The phone number here, 0845 6060 973. You can text on 84850. Here's a call in Victoria. Hello, Kerry.
Hi there, Nick.
Kerry, are you prepared to tell us what you do?
Yes, I am actually. I am a black cab driver who's just retrained for the last 4 years in hospital as a chiropodist podiatrist. So I want to talk about why do women wear the shoes they do?
Oh, perfect person to ask. Yeah. Okay, good.
Well, I'm out here on the road because I've qualified, but I'm just waiting for the stamp on the ticket, so to speak. But let me just say to you, I've done a dissertation on this with a couple of other people where we researched why are women prepared to wear these shoes? But this is a little part of it. Can I read you it very quickly?
Yeah.
It just says, we have postulated that the foot is a sexual object and that footwear enhances this quality. It has been suggested that women select footwear primarily to stimulate sexual interest in men. It has been shown by our findings that men are sexually attracted to certain types of footwear that enhance the legs and expose the feet. And we have explained how these types of footwear can be damaging to the foot health, and so on and so on.
Well, there's 2 things that I'd like to ask you about that. There were comments more than anything. Postulated. It must have been 25 years since I used the word postulated. Well done, Kerry.
Can I admit that was written by another member of the dissertation. I have to say that. So I think they've surmised.
There's another one. Surmised. Excellent.
You know, would you say that? Surmised? That's my other better half who's written that part. We all wrote a part of the dissertation. I looked at the findings. She looked at something else.
She looked at the dictionary, I think.
So, yeah, exactly. Postulate. Anyway, it got...
I don't like postulated because it sounds a lot like pustule.
Would it otherwise, could you put surmised? You know,
No, let's stick with postulated. It's already typed. You don't want to have to redo it.
Don't make me look stupid now. Anyway.
And also, I would have to question your basic thesis.
Yes,
the findings that you got. I don't think... Now, Abby might have an opinion on this. You're a woman, aren't you, Abby? She's prepared to admit to that, but not to having Coldplay albums. That I don't think that women buy shoes for men's approval. I think that women buy shoes for women's approval.
No, Nick.
She's
seriously,
nodding her head
I'm only going
through
by
there.
what we found in focus groups. They were really playing up for the men, and you know, we just found it time and time again. And that's our dissertation. That's what we found. Someone else might find something else, but we did really find it repeatedly that women, it's the alignment of the body. They feel that their whole body looks better in a higher heel, which, if you think about it, is probably true. I mean, they do look very attractive. You put them in a flat shoe, their body looks very different. The leg looks very different. So once you put them in a higher shoe, they feel more sexually attractive. They feel more, powerful. That came up a lot, the word powerful. Women said very often to us, we feel powerful.
But actually, the reverse is true. You rob yourself
they're vulnerable,
of power.
aren't they?
Yes, exactly.
In a way, we said that. How strange. Now, when we asked men, guess what they felt? They felt that the women became vulnerable and they wanted to look after them.
Precisely, yes. And who's designing all of these shoes? Men are.
I tell you what, Nick, there's a whole world out there that was not really, I hadn't really thought of. I mean, I've trained now in a new profession. I hadn't given much thought. Why do people wear this? Why do people wear that? But this dissertation took us in a direction that really exposed people's feelings. And there are so many people who feel such a lot about their shoe wear, you know, and how it affects them and the esteem they get from it.
They're called women, Kerry.
Yeah, absolutely. And please keep wearing the high heels because they give us a lot of work.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Without that, you'd be out of business.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, all our mortgages are sorted out. While these heels go up to about, I think they're about 5-6 inches, we've all worked out we can all afford our mortgages, at least for the next 5-6 years.
You'll be buying a yacht before long.
No, it don't. You know, well, I bought the yacht as a black cab driver. Now I'm going on to something else. No, I'm joking. I'm really joking. But I just wanted to say, it's funny you're talking about it, because Jenny, I spoke to her earlier on, and I didn't understand. She was talking about these high heels for babies.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't hear the word baby.
Well, this is a thing in America that I was talking about earlier on. Did you hear me talking about it? Yeah, I don't need to go back over that.
Of course, I've already spoke to Jenny, but I caught the tail end, and I thought she said children. I thought, well, what is this? But babies, you know what that is. They're just going to stick them in the pram, put these silly things on the end of their feet. Damage, what could they be doing? The kids are not walking around.
Yeah, they can't even walk, yeah.
It's a silly, would you call it sexualisation of kids, unnecessary, a load of old rubbish, and anyone with any brains, which is hopefully the majority of us, would never go that route, would we? I mean, who'd want their baby in a pair of high heels and a flipping pram?
And a wig. Well, it's kind of funny. It's a little bit funny.
I hadn't heard of.
Yeah, they get wigs too, yeah.
If you'd have seen my kids, you definitely would have suggested wigs. They were bald until they were about 3, so the wigs I might have gone along with, but not the high heels.
Right. Okay, well, thanks for the inside scoop, Kerry. Your dissertation, I give you an A star.
Thank you, Nick. I'm
All
waiting
right.
for the result, but hope it's that. Bye.
Okay, cheers, ta-ra. 0845 6060 973. It's like an education, this show, ain't it?
No.
9:45. LBC Travel with Will Gowing.
And more problems on the trains, sir.
Yeah. It's 84850, that's the text number, and the phone number 0845 6060 973. Let me get through some of these emails. About the ear thing. I know how that guy feels with his ear. I accidentally went to scratch the inside of my ear 2 weeks ago with my car key. The key slipped and now I can't hear in that ear anymore. How stupid of me, they say. Don't do it. The last ENT fellow that I saw said, don't put anything smaller than your elbow in your ear. You ever tried to get your elbow in your ear?
Yeah, all the time.
Well, constantly. Night and day. You are the one. Another email. Why is it that women are so unrepresented in politics? Men in politics have always been dire and awful. Britain should be proud for once. We are still one of the few places to elect a female leader. Yes, Maggie Thatcher was pure evil, but still. Oh, I think that's stretching it a bit. Poor Mrs. Clinton was called a bunny boiler by the media, asked by the media to step down when nobody ever has before, took 4 days to endorse a rival when the average scale is 3.5 months. You lost me a bit there. And guess what? The media slagged her off, and the media is run by men. Fascists! Here's some, an addition to the list. Oh, that list, I kind of forgotten that we were doing it. As, by the way, did you. Thanks for your support. Great bad ideas. Stilettos for babies, motorised ice cream cones, Coldplay, allowing the government to negotiate with the private sector, tops that don't meet bottoms on larger women, and treating your own maladies. And to add to that, by email, our disgusting political parties selling us out to the globalist corporate companies, the New World Order, the European Union, Rockefeller, Kissinger and Rothschild, chemtrails. What's chemtrails? Do they mean chemical trials? Maybe. Fluoride in our water and toothpaste. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with fluoride in water? It, makes you...
messes with your teeth.
No, it doesn't. It helps your teeth.
If you have too much fluoride, it's bad.
Well, yeah, of course. If you have too much water, it's bad. Well, it's a silly thing to say. Just don't have too much. Transhumanists and eugenists. Do they mean eugenicists? Oh, Genesis, fantastic. Coldplay, not so much. And vaccinations. What? Yeah, vaccinations. They've never done anyone any good. Another email. Nick, you are always correct. Well, that's right. I work in social care, supporting people with learning difficulties, 6 days a week, 40 hours, and take home after tax about £240 a week. I'm fed up with having all this cash, and I want to give it to an MP or some other needy personage like a lawyer or a judge, or any rich, greedy bleeper who wants it for nothing. You may have guessed I'm bleeped off with this country and the way we're treated by the people that we put into power. Could you please start a revolution? I'll do that straight away. And I've been a Labour voter all my 56 years. Here's a man, David Davis, that has stood on principle, and I applaud him. The current Labour government is following the Bush crime family regime of taking away people's rights on this fake war on terror, and before you know it, you'll wonder what happened to the Magna Carta, habeas corpus and the Constitution. Be vigilant, read between the lines, and don't believe everything that you watch and read in the media. Like, well, what's it said? Don't believe the hype. Boy! Who said that? Don't believe the hype. I'll get it. Don't believe the hype. By the guy who used to wear a clock. Don't believe the hype. Oh, put me out of my mystery.
Flavor Flav.
Flavor Flav with Arg. It's gone. Who is it?
Public Enemy.
Public Enemy is the right answer. Don't believe the hype. You have computers. Google. Other search engines are available. I think some of these, Abby, need editing. You know, before they get to me. Editing. So, Ricelip. Hello, Steve.
Some of them they probably need a spell checker, actually. Anyway, I was just going to say the reason that the Davis thing has worked today is that it's re-engaged everyone. Labour probably thought, well, the vote is over, everyone will go quiet now on it. Davis has brought it back in. But there were other things he said in his statement. He talked about cameras and the fact that it's becoming a little more pervasive.
Yeah.
You know, where as an example, there used to be just the static speed cameras. They're now talking about putting 500 miles of these ones that track you all the way in and out. Suddenly we've got that where it was only necessary where there was an accident. Odd things like that seem to have happened, and it seems kind of bizarre that we're having everything from our number plates tracked on journeys through to things like that. And I think that's what he's trying to say, he's trying to bring these things to the forefront because it's cheap publicity. He doesn't have to pay for this. The Conservative Party get this free.
Well, essentially, we're going to have to pay for it because we're going
to have to pay for an election.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is ridiculous. I mean, I'm upset about that fact, but I understand his sentiments. But frankly, it's a foregone conclusion. He's won, so why hold it?
Yes, it's all a bit. I mean, there must, to me, I'm suspicious that there's something else going on here. Is it about the jump parties or?
No. I think he'll just come straight back into the fold and become, Shadow Defence Secretary or whatever again, basically, or, Shadow Home Secretary again as soon as he's been re-elected.
But
he's too late by the Tories for that.
But to say that he's doing this in order to throw publicity onto this affair is ludicrous. There's nothing but publicity being thrown at it. Every paper, every day is talking about a surveillance society and so on.
But the thing is, I think he wants to try and almost show that he's taking the moral high ground, and I think he's
position himself as the champion of the people.
Absolutely.
Right.
No, I'm not saying he's done it the right way, but unfortunately we've got to accept what he's done now. Let's be frank, the other side haven't exactly played fair either. So,
well, there's nothing fair in love and politics, right?
No, I accept this all for what it is, because frankly, as everyone keeps saying, things ain't what they used to be.
Yeah, including nostalgia, yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Anyway,
thanks very much, Steve.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Nick.
mate. OK, I've just got time for a few more of these texts. I've just joined, so not sure what professions you've covered. Do you have a strength and conditioning coach, physical and athletic performance enhancement specialist on your list? What the hell does that mean? What does that mean? Yes? An echoing silence?
Professions.
Oh, you mean has one of those people called in? Well, he's got a stiff neck. Like I say, editing. Hey, Raj, what have we talked about tonight then,
We spoke about rich politicians.
Put a bit of emotion into it, will you?
Yeah, affairs with maids, losing one's head, witches, powerful colluding, Swiss mistakes, wrongdoings, religious beliefs, the good old days.
Oh, blimey, I can remember
babies.
them. They were fantastic, Raj. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah? High
No,
heels,
not really.
too young to walk, bad ideas of all time, automatic ice cream cones, don't panic, Hughes, 650 people,
panic.
Shell, Unite Union, Coldplay, occupations, motorised lollipops.
You said that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it must have been
King Kong
someone else.
furniture.
LBC.
You don't have